think that's why people can relate to a lot of our songs, man, because it's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, we're not just out there just, you know, because we write songs that are just made-up stories, you know, like Rain Wizard and stuff like that. But, you know, on all the other songs that we write, like Killing Floor and In My Blood and Won't Let Go, those are all true, deep-down, heartfelt, personal experiences, you know what I mean? And it's stuff that, you know, it's life. It's not what you always expect, and unfortunately, not everyone sees it that way. You know, people are like, well, you know what I mean? And, like, the same thing goes, like, you see a homeless person on the street, and they're asking for change. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, they're wanting to buy alcohol or drugs with that. But, you know, I look at it like this, man, and a lot of people might think I'm crazy. But if I give a homeless person on the street, you know, $2 and they can go buy a beer, and I improve the quality of their life for the next hour because they've got a beer in their hand and it makes them feel better, you know, then by all means, you know, at least I made that person feel better for a little while. And the thing about that is a lot of people are like, well, you're just feeding their habit if you do that. True, but at the same time, you don't know what happened in that person's life from point A to point living on the street homeless that forced them to be there. Could it have been their addictions and habits? Yes. But at the same time, you know, you've got people that ask you for money and you say, man, how about I make you a sandwich, you know, and bring you a bag of chips, and they, you know, they sit there and they cry because you actually gave them food and gave them that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like, if people in the world noticed other people more, I think we would have a lot less problems. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's just making that connection anymore with people. We've become so disconnected. But and you gave me a nice segue there, too, talking about tragedy and stuff and that general disconnect. You got a song on there called Such a Shame. Was that inspired by a real event, or is that just a general song of tragedy?
Man, you know, we were in Germany, and we were riding down, and we were noticing all the prostitutes on the street, man, and we were like, you know, dude, in Kentucky, you know, I mean, obviously there's probably prostitution that goes on, you know, in Louisville or some of the bigger cities in Kentucky, but, you know, where we're from, you don't see that stuff. You know, it just no one would let it happen. And we're looking at all these girls, man, that are just absolutely gorgeous women. You know what I mean? Like beautiful, beautiful people. And they're out there, you know, doing drugs on the street corner and selling their body to make $1. And, you know, it's unfortunate because, like I said, at the same, it's tragic because you don't know what forced them to do that. And, you know, a lot of times it's parents that just didn't care. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, like the lines in that song, let's say it wasn't her fault that you weren't around to keep her away from the things that you found. You know, so that goes back to just parents not really paying attention to their children when they're growing up. Or, you know, or dads that walk out on people. You know, luckily, all 4 of us, our dads are all still around. They've always been around us and been very supportive. Our mothers have, too. But, you know, we've got friends and stuff that, you know, that girls that are friends of ours that their dads, you know, just never been there, you know. And luckily, they've been strong enough people to make it on their own. But, you know, you see those girls and you're like, what did their parents not do that let them feel like going and selling their body for drugs and money is the best thing they could do with their life? You know, and you know, a lot of those girls, man, with the sex trade that goes on, you know, in foreign countries and probably even in the U.S., it's one of those things where violence against women and children is one of the things that I am definitely so against. That, you know, we wanted to write a song about that to bring a call to that as well. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those, man, I get so mad just even talking about the fact that women get abused and children get abused. You know, just like drunk guys taking advantage of drunk girls at college parties, you know what I mean? It happens at every party. You know, and not every party that ever happens, but a lot of parties, no matter where it's at, girls will get to drinking and guys will take advantage of them. And, you know, man, like, that's just something that those people don't deserve to fucking walk when they do that, you know what I mean? And I hate to use language like that, but, dude, that's how I feel about it, you know? If you succumb to being that low, then you don't deserve to walk around in my book. You know what I mean? Like, you know, have respect for people and have respect for women. And that's why we wrote that song. You know, I mean, it's a really touchy song with us because you see so much of that stuff, you know, especially being in a band and all that stuff. And, you know, there are women every night that are drinking and doing everything. And, dude, we're the utmost gentlemen. You know, I'm engaged. I'm getting married in December. And I have the utmost respect for women. Because I just think that a man that would, you know, degrade a woman while she's drunk and, you know, incoherent is just a piece of shit, to be honest with you.
I couldn't agree more. On a more positive note, let's talk about the story behind Blame It on the Boom Boom.
Man, you know, dude, we When we were kids, man, like 16 to 18, 19, we were wild. Like we would all four go, somewhere and take a couple fifths of bourbon with us and just get drunk and have fun and have a good time. And we would have parties and hang out, you know what I mean? And that song, it's the boom boom. And a funny story about that is, Ben was riding around with his mom one day listening to our album. And my phone rings and it's Ben calling me. And it's Ben's mom. And she goes, "Hey, Chris, it's Terry. I just got a question for you. What is the boom boom?" And it caught me so off guard. And I was like, I said, "Well, Terry, the boom boom is how little Ben got here 25 years ago." And like she just started laughing hysterically and hung the phone up. And, that's the best way to describe it. The boom boom is whatever makes you feel good. You know what I mean? And it could be having a good time with friends. It could be having sex. It could be anything. You know what I mean? It's just the boom boom is the excuse of all excuses.
Could be that $2 can of beer that makes a homeless man happy for an hour.
It could be, man.
Which song on this album is closest to your heart and why?
Probably a song called "In My Blood," man. And the reason being is that song, and I know in the credits it says written by Zach Malloy and Blackstone Cherry, and to be politically correct and fair, that's the truth. Zach had sent us this song called "In My Blood," and we listened to it, and we didn't really like the song, but we loved the title. So we took his title and rewrote the entire song, lyrics, melody, music, everything, other than the three words "In My Blood." And like that's why we gave him credit, because we took his title. But we rewrote that song about just the constant struggle of the bittersweet feelings that we have of doing what we do, It's, because we love what we do, and it's the only thing that we ever want to do. But at the same time, we have to give up so much of missing our families and all that, and not being there for birthdays and stuff like that, that it's just a constant bittersweet struggle, man. And I think that song, is a song that definitely came straight from the heart, on this record.
Yeah, it is hard for bands now. I was talking to Rick Matalio's way about this not too long ago. It's harder now than it used to be, where you had rock stars and big tours, and now it's, even the guys that are out constantly touring are barely surviving. You got the downloading,
tell me about it.
All that. And, it's, you guys are literally barely doing this for the love of what you're doing. And it's hard to keep the band together, which leads to my next question. In an age where band members change more than their underwear, you four guys have been together for a solid plus decade. What do you attribute your longevity with keeping the lineup together?
Man, that, we've known each other for years, man. And I don't think I've ever seen a group of four guys, myself included, that love each other and love playing music with each other as much as we do. And the simple truth is, man, is just without one piece of the puzzle, it's not Blackstone Cherry anymore. And that's why anytime we have a problem with each other, it's not like we call our manager and go, "Well, he's been an asshole." We just go to each other and go, "Look, man, let's figure this thing out. We're out here for another 3 months. And when we go home, we're going to be hanging out, going to the movies and shit. Let's figure this out." And that's what we've done from day one, which I think is why we're still together. You know what I mean? Like we give each other a lot of hell just aggravating each other, but we all love each other. You know what I mean? And we always love our crew. They're friends of ours. Have been friends for years. And it's who we are. You know what I mean? We are truly brothers. You know what I mean? Like I've got one brother by blood, and I've got many more by choice. You know what I mean? And they might as well be blood. You know what I'm saying? Because we fight like brothers. We really do. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say we never have arguments and we never fight and want to beat the shit out of each other, because we do all the time. But we also love each other, and that's what keeps us going.
Somebody put this question on your site. I'm going to sort of give you the extended version of it, because I don't think it was ever answered on your site. The first part is, what was your first guitar and when did you get it? And the second part is, who were your musical and non-musical inspirations growing up?
Man, the first guitar I ever got was when I was 12 years old. I got it for Christmas. My grandfather built it by hand. It was an acoustic guitar, and that's what he used to do. He built acoustic guitars and mandolins and, acoustic bluegrass traditional instruments by hand. And, I couldn't play it, man. And then I decided I wanted to play, and I wanted to play electric guitar, and my dad got me one. I learned it like it was yesterday. He took a paycheck and got me a guitar, and then he took his next paycheck, and my grandma helped pitch in on both to get me an amp. So I had an electric guitar 1 week, and then 2 weeks later I had an amp to go with it. it was my first love, you know what I mean? Like, and my dad, you know, is just a local musician back home. He never did what John Flynn's dad did or anything, but he's one of the best guitar players I've ever got to witness play in my life. And, you know, I mean, my biggest musical influences of all time are my grandfather and my dad, you know, because those are the two guys that I watched from the time I was born until now play music. And I still play music with them every Sunday when I go out to my grandparents. Every Sunday that we're home, I go out there and we have dinner and then we sit around and play guitar together. You know, and then my little brother plays with us as well. And, man, I have to say my biggest inspirations are, you know, obviously the three guys I'm in the band with and their families. And, you know, the things that really keep me going, though, man, are my fiance, who's been with me, you know, since right before the band started, and stuck with me through some shit, man. She's the best thing that's happened to me, you know. Her and the band are the two best things that have ever happened to me. And my little brother, my little sister, my mom and dad, and my grandparents. You know, I mean, because just the fact that I can walk into them, you know, and say, because you believed in me and because you didn't make me get a job and go to college, because you let me follow my dream, I get to live it every day. And, you know, I get to walk on stage at Download in front of 75,000 people and hear them sing a song back to me that me and four of my brothers wrote. And they get to see that, you know, through video. You know, and they get tears in their eyes seeing it. I'm like, you know, I do this because of you and because you believed in me and you pushed me to do this.
And this will be your second time at Download, right? What was that like the first time when you played?
Man,
crowd that big.
Dude, this will be our third time. We played 2008, 2009, and in 2009 is when we really got that big great gift, man. You know, we were doing Lonely Train. And I told the girl, I said, you know what, I want you singing along as loud as you can. And dude, we came back into it, and they were singing so loud that it just words can't describe it, man. I mean, you know, but it feels the same, you know, in a 1,000-seat bar when you've got the people singing it back so loud that you don't have to sing it. That's the greatest feeling of all time.
You guys just finished up a short U.S. tour with Hinder. I know you got a couple of dates with Alter Bridge, and then you guys are going to be going over to Europe. But what's on tap for the rest of the summer and fall?
Man, I don't think they've announced it yet, so I can't say exactly. But we're working on a big tour right now, man. It's going to start in August and run through part of September. Then we'll probably go back to Europe at the end of the year. But man, we're just going to be on the road constantly from now to then, pretty much.
One last question just for fun here before you give a shout-out to the fans. If you could tour with any band, past or present, who would it be?
Any band, past or present. Honestly, I'd probably want to go out and tour with Nirvana.
Really?
And, yeah, I mean, like, don't be wrong, like I would love to go tour with Jimi Hendrix. I played one of his guitars, and, like, I sat and cried for 30 minutes afterward just because I was like, when the hell would I ever get to play one of those? But, man, you know, like, the Nirvana were one of those bands that I actually got to discover for myself on my own. You know, I'll be 26 in June, and I didn't discover Nirvana until 1998, you know, which was well after Kurt had passed. But there's just such a thing that when I finally found my true love for music at the age of 12, 13, that band really, really touched me, you know, and they're not my favorite band of all time. They're definitely in the top 3, but I would just like to have experienced a live concert by that band at all. You know what I mean? That's why I would probably pick them to go tour with.
In here, I thought you were going to say like Aerosmith or something.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is because, you know, there's a chance, we've actually played a show with Aerosmith. You know, we've got to play shows with Leonard Skinner. We've got to play shows with Thin Lizzy, Ted Nugent. And a lot of the big ones from the 70s, other than Zeppelin and Hendrix, and, you know, some of the few that, you know, have gone on, you know, to their home in the sky, you know, we've got to play with a lot of them. And it's the later influences in life that we never got to play with because members passed on. You know, like we played shows with Alice in Chains, but it's not with Lane. You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, William Duvall does a great job, but it's not like playing with them. But, you know, if we could go out and tour with any band, it would be Nirvana, then immediately followed by Foo Fighters, just because Dave Grohl seems like the kind of guy that just would not suck to hang out with.
Before we get out of here, then, what would you like to say to the fans who are listening?
You know, thank you all for sticking with us, you know, since 2006. You know, it's been 5 years in the making. We've been gone for a year and a half, and I hope that you truly enjoy the record when it comes out.
Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with Metalholic and Mojo.
Absolutely, man.
Be safe out there on the tour. We'll see you next time you go up in town.